Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD Starcraft and I'm here for another Heart of the Swarm broadcast. And today I'm going to be doing a game with WhiteRa. He's going to be the red Protoss player in the bottom right hand corner of Belshir Vestige. And his opponent is going to be the blue Zerg player in the top right hand corner, and his name is Hobbe. Or Hobbe. I'm not too sure how to pronounce it, but I know he's from Sweden. So maybe somebody out there in Sweden can go ahead and post in the comments down below and let everybody know how that is pronounced. I don't know too much about this guy. All I know is that these two players played at DreamHack in the group stages, and I still have a couple games I want to cast from that tournament, obviously, and I do have some replays that people have been sending in to me, so I'll be doing a couple of replays a day, and I thought I'd go ahead and do a little bit of WhiteRa and see how he's been doing lately, because it's been a couple of weeks since I've seen him last. It looks like he has that modified pylon going for him, which it's always cool to see players you know, making use of the new customized I guess icons and whatnot that you can, and doodads you can go with in StarCraft 2. But yeah, WhiteRa's going down here to the bottom left hand corner, checking to see where his opponent has spawned. This is a 4-player map, and on this map you need to scout right away, find out where your opponent is. In Zerg versus Protoss, you do see a lot of that early aggression on two bases still from Wings of Liberty that has kind of transported over in the Heart of the Swarm, but Protoss now actually have a late game mechanic that works quite well against Zerg, that being, you know, carriers and void rays and all that, those air units, basically the composition of which is called Sky Toss, is very good against Zerg now, and a lot of Zerg players still having problems kind of dealing with that. But Hydras obviously are now a huge staple in Zerg versus Protoss as well, so looking forward to seeing how this is going to go down here, especially with the creativity of WhiteRa. You just never really know what's going to happen. WhiteRa here is going to be going for a Nexus. He has a Forge at the front door. Looks like he's going to be going for kind of a it's like a Forge expand. So the Nexus is a little bit later than something like a Nexus first, but by doing this in tournament style, it keeps you a little bit safer from early cheese, and typically on tournament style format, players are going to be more safe rather than being risky, because you don't want to get knocked out. Even though it's a best of 3 format, it's still very easy to get knocked out by some kind of early shenanigans, and so I think WhiteRa is just playing it carefully here, which is smart. And it looks like he is going to go ahead and move his probe into the main base. Do want to remind you guys, this is a best of 3. So I'll be casting a couple of games here in this set, depending on how the players do. Another hatchery is coming up for Hobbe here at the expansion. So he's got 2 more hatcheries. He's got 1 more hatchery coming for a total of 3. And WhiteRa is probably going to sniff that out. Typically, this is where you'd expect the next hatchery to be, and you want to check this if you're Protoss or Terran or even Zerg to know if, well, usually Zerg players don't double expand. That's kind of crazy in Zerg versus Zerg. But yeah, if you're Protoss or Terran, you definitely want to sniff that out right away just to get a feeling for where the Zerg is at, and you can then tailor your build accordingly. And you know, White right now can just sit back on 2 bases and play it pretty safe. He doesn't have to worry all that much about an early attack or anything like that, and from here he can kind of go with what he wants to do in his mind, and we'll see if he goes for a Stargate. A lot of Protoss have been experimenting with that against Zerg as well, and a lot of Protoss are just kind of staying with the traditional, you know, get up, you know, 4 or 5 gates, Robo, Colossus, get the 3rd expansion down. It seems like a Protoss versus Zerg play, at least in the mid game, hasn't wavered too much in Heart of the Swarm. And right now Hobbe is still mining out of his 2 bases. Needs to get some saturation going at the new expansion. Has good Overlord placement throughout the map, so he can see when his opponent is coming for him. And in fact, right now there is 1 unit coming for him. It is a Wayward Zealot making its way over to the top right hand corner, and we do have a Stargate on the way from WhiteRa as well, so it looks like he is going to be going with some type of Stargate play, probably Phoenix. And here comes the Zealot's gonna block the Queen in, not letting it get over to the creep, but a Zergling and a drone have been pulled over for assistance, but this Zealot is so beastly, it is going to kill that Queen! Holy crap, that was a boss Zealot. A Reach Manlot right there, coming in, borrowing, WhiteRa borrowing from Reach apparently, and what a beast of a Zealot that was, able to take out that that queen. Now here comes an Overlord flying in here, looking like he wants to get a little scouting done. And the Stalker is going to take it out. Interestingly enough, do we have... Oh my god. I was gonna say, do we have a Mothership Core? We don't. And WhiteRa is going for a Fleet Beacon and a second Stargate. Wow. So he is going to be going for the Sky Toss build that I was telling you guys about. Now, the reason why I'm a little surprised here is most Protoss players, when they go Sky Toss, it's like a transition from the mid game into the late game. But I've seen WhiteRa do this before against Zerg, and he actually literally just opens up with double Stargate on 2 bases and then kind of expands to the 3rd base and has this massive air army that is just so hard for Zerg to stop. If Hobbe is going to be able to deal with this, I mean, first of all, he needs to scout the Fleet Beacon, and then following that, he needs to get a Hydralisk Den down and maybe a Spire and start to get the units he needs to counter, you know, carriers, because there are 2 carriers on the way right now. And here comes an Overlord for Hobbe. This is absolutely critical. Now, unfortunately for Hobbe, he did not get Overlord speed. You know, it is available at hatchery level, but a lot of Zergs, for whatever reason, you know, they don't get that upgrade. I think it's really nice to have. He isn't going to get it. I don't know if he's going to be able to scalp the carriers. And, you know, 2 are on the way with Graviton Catapult as well, which basically just allows the carriers to launch their interceptors all at once, just basically increasing their damage output. And what is WhiteRa doing over here at the top left-hand corner? We could be seeing a Ninja expand up here. Yes! WhiteRa is going for the Ninja expand, and Hobbe has really no idea what is happening. Now, he's going to come in with the Overseer, and he's going to see this double Stargate and the Fleet Beacon, so now he knows exactly what's going on. He needs to throw down a Hydralisk Den or a Spire or both, and we do have a Spire coming, a couple of Spore Crawlers coming as well, really scrambling to get the anti-air forces he needs on the field. With the Spire on the way, it looks like he just wants to go with Mass Corruptor here, but when you go Mass Corruptor against Sky Toss, you have to be careful about Void Rays. Void Rays are very good against Corruptors. And Tempests aren't half bad against them either. And this Ninja expansion is still going up for WhiteRa as well, so this is completely hidden. Hobbe has no idea. And if there is ever a time, I feel like, for Hobbe, the Zerg player, to maybe make a counterattack and punish WhiteRa a little bit for not really having any forces at the door, this is the time. With his Roaches and his Zerglings, try to punch a hole through the front door and delay these carriers and force WhiteRa's hand. This might be the opportunity to do so, but meanwhile, WhiteRa is coming in with these double carriers and a Mothership Core, looking to make a bit of an aerial bombardment here over at the right-hand side. Now, the carriers have been called back home because of course, the Roach attack at the front door, so this is what I was saying. Hobbe needs to apply pressure to WhiteRa and keep those forces away from his base. And now it looks like Hobbe has found the Ninja expansion in the top left-hand side as well, but the wall is up. The wall is up, and the Zerglings are like the Mongolians that cannot break through into China because the Great Wall of WhiteRa has been erected. And yeah, that's pretty good there for WhiteRa. He's going to have that set up nice and tight. And WhiteRa now moving into the middle of the field with his carriers, but he's got to be careful. He knows that his Stargates and his Fleet Beacon were revealed a long time ago, and he's got to be careful about imminent Corruptors, which there are some on the way right now, and Corruptors are considerably faster than carriers, so you do need to be careful about leaving those in the middle of the field. Here comes the Roaches and Zerglings. Will WhiteRa Mothership Core transport his carriers back home to help out here, or will he just warp in a lot of sentries to force field the ramp? And, you know, he could certainly warp in a ton of sentries, depending on how many warp gates he's got at home. He actually doesn't have that many, just 1 or 2. So it looks like these forces are going to apply quite a bit of pressure here. A couple of photon cannons, though, on the high ground might be enough to hold this off. And WhiteRa, once again, with a daring hold, he's going to warp in a new sentry here as well, but the sentry doesn't come out in time. However, with 3 photon cannons here, I think WhiteRa should be okay. It's going to be pretty close. And Hobbe is, yeah, he's going to lose those forces. And meanwhile, here comes WhiteRa coming through the middle of the map with his carriers and his Mothership Core. He's got a ton of interceptors here, about 35 interceptors loaded up inside these 4 carriers. And Hobbe is, I mean, he's kind of dealing with 2 situations here. A, he's got to stop this aerial attack, and B, he's got to shut down this expansion. He hasn't been able to do either, and WhiteRa is now coming in with the carrier attack on the natural expansion. And is there enough anti-air here to deal with this? It looks like the hatchery is taking quite a beating. It looks like the hatchery might just go down here. The base up here is secured, and the hatchery has fallen. Nothing that Hobbe can do about it. WhiteRa with a brilliant assault. Now WhiteRa could warp his units away before those corruptors come in, and that's exactly what he does. What a fantastic, you know, strategy by WhiteRa. And yeah, he hasn't taken that much damage at all this game. If you look at the resources lost, 5,000 compared to 1,500. WhiteRa is just sitting real pretty right now. He's getting a third base going as well, which is the only concern I really had for him, is maybe his third was a little bit delayed. But that's the thing when you go Sky Toss, you know, it's a heavy drain on your resources, and it's very taxing on 2 bases. But WhiteRa is now on 3 bases, and if he can hold off this counterattack, I think he's going to be just fine. Hobbe hasn't given up yet, though, and he's about to finish Hydra Speed. He is on 4 bases himself, but he so desperately needs to kill off this third up here. And I do apologize, guys. This is the third base. I meant, you know, WhiteRa should be getting a 4th base up. But, yeah, WhiteRa's on 4 bases now, and Hobbe is coming up to the top left-hand corner, trying to take out the third. Will WhiteRa be able to defend here? He could actually just leave this top left ninja expansion and just send his probes over here to the new third and mine over here, and I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to abandon this location because it's just too taxing to defend a remote corner on Belshir Vestige when you're all the way on the other side of the map. So he's just going to give this up. He's more than earned his keep mining minerals and gas from that location, and now, I mean, just look at his army. He's got what, 5 carriers, 9 void rays, full-on Sky Toss here, and I don't know how many Hydras Hobbe has. It looks like he's got about 20. I don't know if 20 Hydras is going to be enough to cut this army down. His upgrades are looking pretty decent. 1-1, he needs to get +2 missile finished, and it's on the way. We'll see if Hobbe is going to be able to hold off this attack. It's really going to come down to the engagement. He needs to have his Hydra spread out, and he needs to be on the creep. So we'll see if he's going to be able to do that or not. A lot of roaches coming into the middle of the field here. Hobbe hasn't given up yet, and there's no big reason for him to. He's actually got a supply lead right now, 184 to 166, but he needs to engage WhiteRa before WhiteRa maxes out. The longer he waits, you know, the larger WhiteRa's army gets, and a 200 supply Protoss army, especially with Psionic Storm, is not going to be something that Hobbe wants to deal with. And I'm not too sure why he's going for Swarm Host. I don't agree with going for Swarm Host at this point. You're dealing with mostly air units, and I don't think Swarm Hosts are the unit you want to go for. It almost seems like maybe Hobbe is just a little confused as to how to deal with WhiteRa's composition of mostly air units. And, you know, it's tough right now. This is what Zerg have been kind of complaining about for a while since Heart of the Storm has come out. And you know, Protoss, you know, it's very hard to deal, I guess, if you're a Zerg player with this kind of Protoss air army. But we'll see. It looks like Hobbe is coming in with these roaches here. If he can take out this Nexus, that would be absolutely brilliant for the Zerg player. And he's coming in dealing with quite a bit of photon cannon, so I don't think he's going to be able to take out this Nexus as long as WhiteRa can come in here and support. And it looks like he's bringing his main army over here, and these roaches, I don't think they're going to get much damage done at all. So here comes the army, and the roaches are obliterated, but Hobbe using that as a distraction to try to launch an attack at the Nexus over here in the pocket expansion. But, you know, that's very risky to run your army up this ramp. Once you're up here, you know, a couple of sentries and force fields, and you are stuck there, and the Protoss army can take you out basically, you know, without mercy. So Hobbe knows that going up that ramp is pretty much suicide. He's going to try to rely on his Swarm Hosts here to siege the location, I suppose. No, he's pulled back his Swarm Hosts, and he's fallen back. So right now it is a 4-base situation. Both players are maxed out, but like I said, that does favor WhiteRa. And I'm looking at this army. This is a scary Protoss army. Lots of Void Rays, carriers. There's a couple of Templars in here, down here with Psionic Storm and Archon as well. And, I mean, the Zerg army, I don't know if this is enough to stop WhiteRa. If WhiteRa wanted to attack right now, I think WhiteRa could have his way with Hobbe. And I really don't think there's much that the Zerg player could do about it. And so he's trying to supplement his army right now with some Spine Crawlers. which is never a bad idea, but yeah, I think WhiteRa might just be too far ahead at this point. We'll see, though. Here comes WhiteRa. He's got a couple of Tempests mixed in as well. Great army here, all launching prismatic alignment for the Void Rays and enabling them to deal more damage to armored units. I mean, everything is just getting splattered. Storm getting rid of the Locust pretty easily there. And WhiteRa now can just fly in, and I think he's going to take out this army. A couple of Storms coming down for good measure as well. And goodbye, Hobbe. I think game 1 is going to go to WhiteRa there, and GG calls Hobbe. So, very nice strategy by WhiteRa. Who said Sky Toss could not work? Nobody, actually. Sky Toss is amazing, and WhiteRa showing just how amazing it truly is. Like I said before, very hard to do on 2 bases. That's why WhiteRa, you know, he had the third up here, the Ninja expansion. But yeah, with that Ninja going up, it was actually really hard for Hobbe to deal with WhiteRa, and we'll see what happens in game 2. We'll see if he'll employ the same strategy or not. I'll see you guys in the next video, and this is HD signing out.